Welcome, 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 entrepreneurs and business leaders. Today, we're going to be getting into an important decision many of you face: hiring contractors versus employees. So, understanding the tax importance of each can significantly impact your business's financial health. So, let's clarify the tax difference between hiring employees versus hiring contractors and what that means for your hiring strategy. So before we get into our awesome topic of contractors versus employees, tax differences explained, I'm going to introduce myself. So my name is Shane Harris, and around here on these social media streets, I'm also referred to as Shane the Negotiator, and I help coaches, consultants, and service providers who are overwhelmed and lack guidance to achieve true financial freedom. And I do that by providing expert tax and coaching services. That is what I do. That is who I help. So come on, let's jump into today's topic. So initially, there was another topic that I was going to discuss, but I changed up the playlist slightly. And now we're going to we move this one up on the list, and the order is going to be slightly different. So if you watch the um last one that we had, which we were speaking about, what was the last topic about? The biases in the people of color. That's the last one that was recorded or that was done on Friday. So now we're going to roll into this particular topic. So if you watch that one, I had a different teaser. So if it doesn't match up, this is why. Okay, so let's go on into continue on with our topic. So understanding the basics. So first, it's important to grasp the fundamental difference between what a contractor is and what employees are. So an employee works directly under the control, offering a long-term commitment to your company. On the other side, a contractor provides services under a contract for a specific task or period, operating independently. So, in plain old English, contractors versus employees. And employees, you tend to dictate the work that they're going to do. You set their hours, when they're going to come in, when they're going to leave, what time they're going to have lunch. You're in direct control on the work that gets done, how it gets done, and so forth. Versus a contractor, when you hire a contractor, you generally not setting those contractors' hours. They kind of work whenever they are going to be available to work. Also, they figure out how they're going to do the work. So you don't necessarily dictate how the work gets done. The contractor, they determine how the works get done. So again, employees, you're pretty much telling them what to do, versus the contractor, you're not necessarily telling them what to do. You're giving them the task that is needed, and they are going to figure out on their own, based on their expertise, how the task is going to get done. So in simpler terms, you have control over your employees. You do not have control over your contractors in terms of tasks. Okay. So I hope that makes some sense. So the importance for employers. So for employees, employers are responsible for withholding income taxes. So if you are the employer and you have employees, you as the employer, you are going to be the one responsible through payroll to withhold those income taxes. So you're going to be responsible for withholding income taxes, Social Security, and Medicare contributions. You are 100% responsible for that. The employee is going to complete the W-4 form, and then you are going to complete the withhold the Social Security, income tax, and Medicare contributions out of the employee's paycheck. You're also liable for paying unemployment taxes on their wages. With contractors, the responsibility to pay taxes falls on the individual contractors. It does not fall on you as the employer, simplifying your payroll process, but also changing the nature of tax deductions and, of course, those benefits. So whether you have contractors or you have employees, you're going to be able to write off 100% of the wages that you pay to either one. However, if you have employees, you're going to be withholding those income taxes, Social Security, and Medicare. You're also going to be deducting the feudal taxes that you're paying, federal unemployment tax, the taxes. You're going to deduct all of that as an expense when you file your taxes. Versus when you have a contractor, the wages that you pay to the contractors is going to be deductible, but there's not going to be any deductions for any taxes being withheld because you're not withholding any taxes. That falls on the responsibility of your contractors, your 1099 employees, or not employees, but your 1099 contractors. They're going to be responsible for withholding their own taxes on for their own wages on their own. You don't have to worry anything about that. So employee benefits and consideration. So employing individuals comes with additional considerations beyond taxes. So including offering benefits like health insurance, retirement plans, and paid leave. These benefits are not only tax deductible for the business, but it also plays a role in attracting and retaining your talent. So if you're going to have employees, of course, if you're offering these things, it's going to be a nice incentive for the people that work for you. If you have contractors, none of this is going to apply because you're not obligated to offer any of these benefits. So contractor payments in 1099 forms. So when you pay a contractor $600 or more during that tax year, you have to, it's mandatory, you have to file Form 1099 NEC, which stands for non-employee compensation. You have to file this with the IRS and provide a copy of this to the contractors reporting their income paid. This process underscores the contractor's responsibility to pay their income and self-employment tax. So when they work with you and you have paid them $600 or more, if you paid them $599, you don't need to send them a 1099. But if you paid them $600 or more, you must issue them the 1099. They are then going to be responsible for filing that on their taxes. So you're going to issue that 1099 NEC, non-employee compensation, to the IRS. Your employee is going to, well, not your employee, your contractor is going to get their copy so that they can file on their taxes and remit the appropriate self-employment taxes. You don't pay any taxes on this particular money because you did not have any employees. They were your contractors. Your employee, on the other hand, you're going to issue them their W-2, of course, and the taxes that you had withheld from them out of their paychecks, that gets remitted every quarter. In some states, is every month that gets remitted to the appropriate federal and states. Okay, so that is the difference between the two. So a case study, let's talk about someone named Sarah. So Sarah owns a rapidly growing design firm. To manage project-based work and control costs, she hires contractors for short-term needs while maintaining a core team of employees for her ongoing long-term operation. This strategy allows her to leverage the benefits of both workers, like employees, and contractors while managing tax implications effectively and efficiently. So you can have a combination of employees and contractors. You can have all employees, you can have all contractors. It all depends on what type of business that you have. What is the goal? What is it that you're trying to achieve? Like I said, if it's a short-term project, you may want to put a contractor on that for a project base. So for instance, a project base would be for me, let's say tax season. We're in tax season now. We're getting ready to wrap it up in less than a couple of weeks. And I decided that I wanted to hire a contractor, or I needed help to complete the rest of this tax season. So I want to get a couple of tax preparers. I may not necessarily want to hire an employee to work throughout the entire year. I may want to hire a contractor just to work for the next 3 or 4 weeks to finish up tax season. And that's project based. So it's based on this particular season. This is what I need versus ongoing. So my bookkeeping services, my accounting services, payroll services, I may not necessarily want to hire a contractor. I may decide that I'm going to put an employee in place so that they can help me and help manage that in my business ongoing throughout the year. So that is a difference between why you may want to have a project base versus why you may want to have an employee. Of course, that's not the only reason, because you can still hire an employee and have them work for that seasonal for that particular time and they be an employee. Now you may want to go versus you may want to get an employee versus a contractor for a seasonal base because you get to write off more. You get to write off those wages, you get to write off the taxes that you paid. And it's also there's some credits for hiring certain types of employees, which if you watch last year's playlist, I think we touched on it just a little bit. Pathway to Financial Mastery. If not, I'll do another series on that and then we'll talk about that. So there are some benefits and credits that you can get for hiring employees that you necessarily won't get for hiring contractors. So there's many reasons why you may want to go with an employee versus a contractor, or you may want to go with a contractor versus an employee. So we're going to talk about some legal distinctions and risks. So it's going to be important to correctly classify your workers. Misclassifying an employee as a contractor can lead to significant penalties. It also works the same for misclassifying contractors and you're working them as if they're employees. So this includes back taxes and fines, those penalties. The IRS uses several criteria to determine the correct classifications. So focusing on the degree of control and independence. So again, this is going to be one of the most important factors when it comes to choosing whether you have an employee or whether you have a contractor. It's going to be how much leeway do they have within your business. So I have people that work for me, my contractors that work for me. I do not have any employees except myself. I am the only employee of my particular business as of right now. I had employees at one point, but I switched them over to contractors. So the difference is when you're going to be doing something like this is knowing, again, how much work are you dictating? So if I have an employee, they're going to have a set hours that they're going to work. I'm going to say between this time and this time, you're expected to be at work. These are your duties that you're expected to get done. Versus me hiring a contractor. Some of the contractors that I have, they're working on project base. So it's particular things that they may have. They may have contractors that is managing my YouTube. So they're working on particular tasks for my YouTube. They don't clock in at a particular time. They work whenever they want to. They can work on a Saturday. They can work on a Wednesday. They can work whenever they want to, as long as the tasks are completed by the time the deadline that I give them. So you still can give deadlines and due dates for your contractors because ultimately you are the CEO. You are the one in charge. These are the things that you need help with within your business. So you still have some control on when the task is going to get done. So you discuss that with you, hey, I need this to get done by this particular day. The contractor have that leeway to say, well, you know what? I can't get it done by this day. I can do it by this day instead. There's a negotiation conversation that you can have with your contractor versus your employee. That may work a little bit differently. That's a little bit more of a dictatorship, whereas you tell them when it needs to get done. Now they still, based on how you may set up your organization and your how comfortable you are with your team, you may have a dialogue with them where they may say, hey, I'm not going to be able to get this done by this date. I can get it done by that. And you can have that set up with them interpersonally within your business. However, you are still in control. You come back and say, no, that's not going to work. So you do have control of your employees. You don't have so much control over your contractors. So no, I keep restating that because many of you are making this mistake, as I see when you come through to file your taxes and you say, well, I have employees, but then you're issuing 1099s. Well, those are not employees, those are contractors. If we're issuing 1099s, you do not have employees, you have contractors. And if you're working them like employees, then those wages can get reclassified as if they're contractors, you're working them as employees, those wages can get reclassified as employment wages, and you have to pay income tax on them. The employee have to pay income tax, and you have to pay those feudal taxes. So don't confuse the language when you're speaking about the people that is working for you. Similarly, you may have employees, but then you're saying you have contractors instead, but you're directly telling them how the work gets done, when they need to show up, when they can leave, when they can take lunch, how many hours they need to work. You are directly dictating what it is that they're doing. So they are not contractors, they are employees. So don't forget, don't confuse those two. And those lingo and how you classify them is going to make or break the situation and tip the scale versus employee to contractors. Okay. So track strategic consideration. So deciding between hiring an employee or a contractor depends on your business's needs, your financial situation, and of course your long-term goals. While contractors offer the flexibility and the potential cost savings, potentially, employees can provide stability and contribute to building your company culture. Now, they are some contractors that have longevity. You can have contractors that's working with you for quite a while. I have had contractors that worked with me for well over a year, at least a year and a half. And then I had employees that worked with me for about 6 months, and then that was the end of that. So having an employee doesn't guarantee they're going to be working with you for years and years and years, because employees can leave just like contractors can. And having a contractor doesn't necessarily mean when the project is done, they're going to go on about their business, because you can have other projects that come up and you may continuously work with them as contractors. So you have to weigh the pros and cons for your business. Of course, the financial aspect of things, what it is that you need in your business, the goals of your business, where you're trying to go, the type of help that you need, and so forth. So, in conclusion, choosing between contractors and employees is going to be a significant decision with a direct tax implications and broader impact on your business. So, by understanding the differences, you can make informed decisions that align with your strategic objectives and, of course, comply with the tax laws. So, I know I concluded, but I wanted to add in something else that I failed to mention. When you have the employees, again, they complete that W-4 form that I mentioned. Okay, we all know about the W-4 form where you put your exemptions, your withholdings, and all of that good stuff as an employee. How many dependents you have? Do you have multiple jobs? Yada, yada, yada. Simple, right? Now, when you have contractors, they don't complete a W-4 form, but you must have them complete a W-9 form. No, I'm sorry, not a W-9 form, an I-9 form. This form, when they complete it, is going to have their information on their EIN number or their social security number, depending on how the contractor is working. You may hire a contractor that is a business owner that has an EIN number. You may hire a contractor that is using their social security number as a sole proprietor. They're not using a business or anything like that. So you would use a social versus the other is an EIN. Now, if the contractor has a business and that business is an S corp, then they don't need to complete the I-9 form, because you're not going to be sending corporations any 1099s. Anything outside of that, you're going to send them a 1099 if it's $600 or more. So I recommend that you have them complete this form immediately. As soon as you decide to hire a contractor, you need to have them complete the forms. And actually, I misspoke. I said that incorrect. I said the I-9 form. Let me go ahead and restate. The I-9 form is the employee employment eligibility verification. That is different. I always mix up those forms when I'm speaking. The I-9 is an employee employment eligibility verification. That is a form that is used to see if the person can legally work in the United States. That is not the form that they need to fill out. It's the W-9 form. The W-9 form is used to verify the name and address and the tax identification number of an individual receiving income. So this is the form. The W-9 is what you're going to have your contractors complete when you're hiring them to do any type of task or projects or anything. Let me see if I can find one on this internet that I can pull up and show you guys real quick. Let's see here. Let me find a better one. I found one, but it's kind of hard to see, hard to read. So let me see if I can get another one. W-9 forms for 2024. Let's look at that. Let's pull up. All right, here is one right here. All right, here's one. You see the PDF. All right, found one. All right, let me share my screen so you guys can see. I almost forgot about that. So we are on IRS W-9. Okay, here it is. Okay, so I hope you guys can see this. So this is the W-9 form, the request for taxpayer identification number and certification. This is what you're going to have your contractors complete when they start to work. So keep copies of this so you can email it to them, or if they actually come into your location, you can hand it to them. They can complete this. If you're using a payroll processor like QuickBooks or any of those places, they can actually send this out to your contractors and you can get them to complete this as well. So it's the W-9 form, again, request for taxpayer identification number. They're going to put their name, the business name, are they a sole proprietor, C Corp, S Corp, partnership, trustee, etc. And you continue through the form. You're going to have, there's a spot for the EIN number or the social security number and so forth. So this is what the forms look like, and it has instructions explaining how you complete the form on the other couple of pages. So it's about 5 pages here, and well, it's more than 6 pages. 6 pages has the instructions. The first page is the only page that you're going to be completing. Well, not you. They are going to complete. Then they're going to sign it and send it back to you, and you're going to have this. So that when it's time to remit those 1099s, you are not chasing your contractors. So let me stop my screen. So have them complete this as soon as you hire them to start working with you. Make this a part of your process. They do not get paid if they do not complete this W-9 form, okay? So again, remember I misspoke. I said I-9 earlier. That is incorrect. The I-9 is the employment verification form. That is not what you need to have your contractors complete. They need to complete the W-9 form like I just showed you, and your employees need to complete the W-4, okay? Numbers get confusing sometimes. It's tax season. Please forgive me. So now that we have gotten that out of the way and that correction has been made, let me go into the teaser for next week. So next up, we're going to be exploring estate planning for business owners. I know you guys want to hear about this. Tax strategies. So whether you're just starting or you're thinking about a legacy planning, understanding how to integrate estate planning into your business strategy is going to be important for long-term success. So in closing, thank you so much for joining me in this exploration of tax nonsenses between contractors and, of course, those employees. If you found this information to be helpful, please like, share, and subscribe over there on the YouTube family. Come on over here to YouTube if you're not there. And if you're on all the other platforms, Facebook, IG, or if you're catching the reels throughout the week on TikTok, come on over here and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I have dropped my link, bit.ly/SD negotiator. If you have need any assistance with completing your tax returns because you have not done it yet, if you need an amendment done, if you need any situation that's related to taxes and accounting, payroll services, click that link and schedule a 15-minute discovery call, a chat. Now that 15 minutes is only going to be for us to see if we're a good fit, for you to tell me what your situation is. I'm going to tell you what my services are and if we are going to move forward with working together. If you have specific things that you want answers to, you have questions, then you have to go ahead and schedule a consultation for an investment. It's $125 for 30 minutes. And of course, we go from there. So if you don't need a consultation, of course, you just schedule that 15-minute, or you can send me an email and let me know that you're ready to onboard for taxes. I will get you to pay that deposit depending on where you are. $250 if it's an individual tax filing, no businesses, no 1099s, no nothing. If you are a Schedule C because you have a a LLC, or if you have a Schedule E because you have rental property, it's a $500 deposit. And if you have my corporations out there, if you're a corporation's S Corp, C Corp, or partnerships, your deposit is going to be $750 to get your taxes filed. So you will pay that deposit. I will get you into the onboarding system, and we begin the series of onboarding you for tax services. So again, here's that link. I have it in the description there, bit.ly/SD negotiator. And again, come on over here, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps the channel to grow when you subscribe, like, and you comment. And if you're everywhere else, drop it in the comments. Let me know of the topics that you want me to discuss. Have any questions, drop it in there related to the conversation that we just had. Drop it in the comments and I would answer them for you. So until I come back with the next topic, I hope you guys have a great and wonderful day.